back to day 2 of the Big Picture 2 benthic imagery workshop. We've got a number of really interesting events lined up for us today, and I'll cover those in a moment. Just before we kick off, we've got the usual kind of sort of rules of the road, a little briefing on use of Teams and so on, and sort of some small reflections from yesterday. And I do want to whiz through things quickly, just to sort of get us up to speed a little bit quicker today. The first thing I would like to do is to get another group photo of us. I'm getting a group photo every day at the minute. Nothing fancy. It's basically just a screen grab. So if you want to do what you want to do there, sort of, kind of rearrange things on your desk or whatever it is, just going to give us 3, 2, 1 before I hit the print screen button. There we go. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Big smile. Hey, there we go. It's not very glamorous, the old print screen button, but it works. So just good to get an idea of who's around. Yes, I'll throw up a few slides just to get us kicking here. Here we go. I'm sharing a screen there. Can people see that screen? Yes. Yep. Great. Okay. So there are a lot of participating organizations in the workshop and have been in the Big Picture kind of collaboration effort over the last couple of years. I appreciate many of you were here yesterday, but some of you are here just today. We're recording all the sessions in the workshop, so you can sort of view them on the webpage afterwards if you want a recap of everything. But just pointing out just a few of the organizations involved. There are many more, and I'm sure there'll be many more in future too. Introducing you to your workshop facilitation team to look after you, try to set up rooms and things like that. We've got a few improvements from yesterday. There'll be myself. I'll welcome you and close down every day's sessions. I'll also be chairing session 6. Kirsten Dinwoody facilitated session yesterday, and we'll be doing one on the last day, session 5. Joey O'Connor facilitated yesterday. Jess Taylor will be facilitating first thing this morning. Steph Golub will be facilitating this afternoon. Zena Molson has been handling all of your registrations, so a big thank you to Zena. And Neil Golding from Aquarius Survey and Mapping will be collating everything that we say and do over the next couple of days and putting that into a report. Everyone else on the team is from the Joint Nature Conservation Committee. Okay, we are working on Teams. The fact that we've logged on is the first test. The second test, I'll go through them now. Please keep yourself muted as you do, as you are now. Thank you for that. Just when you are not speaking. When you are speaking, you just click the button there. Also, something that's quite good is to keep your video on whenever you can, bandwidth allowing. This makes it a lot easier, I think, for us to see each other, see reactions, see smiles, see heads nodding, see big frowns, see disapproval when they say something really sketchy and dodgy. During some of the presentations, they might get a bit flaky with all of our cameras on, and so the session facilitator will say something about that, and then we might have to turn our cameras off again. But the idea is, excuse me, is to try and keep as much sort of contact, as close to human contact as we can get through this process. Please, if you have questions, we would love to hear them, and some of you will be beginning this process of interacting with this imagery. Some of you will be old hands at this. Goes without saying, there are no silly questions here. If you've not been involved with a thing, please ask for a bit more information about it. And this group is fantastic. People will be more than happy to share that information and bring you up to speed. Equally so, if you've got some challenging, difficult questions, we want to tackle that too. So just any questions you've got, please don't be shy. Either put your hand up using the buttons. We'll get round to you as best we can, or pop some information in the chat there. The chat will be recorded, of course, and then we'll be able to take some of those. If you've got ideas and things that maybe don't make it into the questions, we can get a copy of that, and we can go through that and put your ideas into the report at the end. With regards to leaving the meetings, there's just a big red button in the corner. So you just push the big red button and that'll be you out of the meeting. With regards to getting back in again, you just follow the links that you've all got now. So if anything goes wrong at any point, there's a way to get back in. And a few sort of options, the dots, we've sort of covered a little bit of that, playing with the together mode today. You can sort of tweak your background and so on. Some of you might be able to do that, some maybe not. Yes, a note that we will be recording the workshop sessions. Yes, that's all I really want to cover about Teams. So going through the plan for today, building on yesterday. The aims will be to share the progress of so our collaboration through the big picture working group, particularly through the project working groups that have just been set up. We want to share where we are with that at the moment. Next up, we want to really identify funding routes to take on this work, and then some global outreach opportunities where possible as well. You know, we won't be doing this work in isolation, so it's important that we make contacts with partners sort of around the globe. I think our academic members are, you know, like particularly good at this. So, excuse me, we'll be really keen to hear your thoughts on that. And then it goes without saying there are plenty of challenges with this work, and it will be ever evolving. So please, you know, if you see things that aren't working, that don't work, or new ideas, those are things that we want to flesh out as well. And we're going to funnel all of this into the report at the end. So we're going to aim to make the report something very useful for all of us, that will capture all of this and help the project working groups in the big picture group move forward. The plan for today, I'll run through that now. We'll sort of run through the plan now, and then we have a very short break. This is like a lightning break. Okay, most of your breaks are going to be half hour or an hour. This is just a quick sort of 10-minute break, just until 10 o'clock. So once we're done here, quick sort of leg stretch. And then can we all be back at 10 o'clock for session 3, which looks like it's going to be a very exciting session. This is all the digital stuff that goes along with benthic imagery. It's you know, it's come a long way from Polaroid and Kodak and so on, and really we've just begun to scratch the surface on unlocking the huge potential that you've got with digital imagery. And so we'll have Kerry Howell from University of Plymouth talking to us about artificial intelligence approaches that can be of use for benthic imagery. And we'll have Dan Lear from the Marine Biological Association of the UK and Data Archive for Seabed Species and Habitats, or it's Species and Seabed Habitats. I might have got that wrong. Like, apologies, Dan. But more talking about the benthic imagery data flows. And Graham Duncan from Joint Nature Conservation Committee about some benthic imagery catalogue work. Now, these 3 speakers have put together a session for you, sort of juggles around, moves around, and I think is going to be quite interesting, quite interactive. Now, embedded in this, we've also got a short video clip, which we're going to play through Teams, and that's hopefully going to work. On the FathomNet database. If you haven't heard of this, this is a sort of an AI data archiving annotation project that's being set up by the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute. It's pretty cool stuff. Kakani Khatija will be the researcher who's made that video clip. She's not able to make it at the minute. She's actually in bed on the Pacific coast of the USA. They're still 8 hours behind us, but fortunately she has offered to do a question session towards the end of today. So I'll come back to that in a moment. Throughout the session, please, again, ask your questions, raise any funding opportunities you're aware of, global outreach, and any sort of future challenges that we need to be aware of. We'll have a break for lunch, a good hour, and then come back again, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. This is more to discuss the day-to-day things that we do with imagery, mostly focusing on identification, enumeration of the things we see in our images, and uses of image annotation software. So Joey O'Connor from Joint Nature Conservation Committee will be taking us through some identification approaches that have been developed and are being developed in the future. Sadly, John Hawes from Centre for Environment, Fisheries and Aquaculture Science, CFAS, John Hawes was meant to be talking to us about enumeration approaches. He's not able to make it today for a few reasons. So I've got a bit of experience with this, so I'm just going to do a quick step in and tag team with Ross Bullimore from CFAS as well, and we're going to try to capture what John would have been saying as a last-minute change to the program. And Mark Burton from Natural Resources Wales will be taking us through some image annotation software. And again, same things. There'll be some questions and presentations afterwards. That session will be facilitated by Steph Golob from JNCC. And I forgot to mention, so sorry, Jess, that you will be leading us through the next session. So you've got your two facilitators today, Jess and Steph. We'll have a short break. Well, a half hour break's quite a good break, actually, after all that, and then a review at the very end of the day, just to wrap things up. A quick run through of what worked and what didn't work. Finally, the talk for this evening, that will be between 4:30 and 5:30. It might not suit a lot of you. It's a little bit late. We've only just been able to pull it together. If you are interested in the FathomNet project and Mbari's work and how you can contribute to that, or just generally interested, please send an email to the Big Picture email address. Bring that up here. There you go. To register that interest, and we will collect those over the course of today, and we will send you out an invite for that session later on. Okay, that's between 4:30 and 5:30. It's as close as we get to an evening session during the workshop. So